What's up, YouTube? It's your residential Dune Sherpa, Overlord Alex. Today, let's talk about Dune Awakening Specialization XP progression and some tips on where you should be spending your Specialization XP depending on your playstyle and goals in the endgame. Dune's Specialization XP endgame was released at the start of Chapter 3 several months ago at the time of recording. Ever since then, at least for me, and I'm sure for others, it's been a grindy, time gated, and opportunity cost filled endeavor to decide where to spend your specialization XP every week. It's a mess to think about without some proper planning. Before we dive into my recommendations for specializations in the endgame, let me say that this is my opinion based off of several character tests and community feedback. That does not mean you need to follow this to a T. However, I hope that the paths that I give you all today can be used as a foundation for how you make your decisions on this so you can get the most amount of enjoyment out of the game and also be efficient with your time and progression. Let's start off with the basics. What are the main takeaways from each specialization tree? Let's look at crafting first. The crafting tree lets you craft higher durability graded equipment, puts on additional armor and weapon augments, grants a significant amount of repair bonuses for vehicles, weapons, and armor to extend the life of your gear, while also offering recycling and crafting time deals as well as time reductions. That's a lot to unpack, so let's focus on the first 40 or so levels of this tree. With how the XP curve works, that would be the easiest to obtain over a short period of time. The biggest crafting perks we want to aim for if we're just starting out solo and have no outside crafter to help us is getting to level 30 and 31 for the second augment slot on our ranged and melee weapons, and also getting to level 42 for our second slot on our armor pieces. This is going to offer us a significant amount of power increase in all the content in the game, especially the overland testing stations. If we're moving along in the game a bit more, level 52 with the pattern upgrading trait is also another fantastic pickup. This is going to save us a lot of resources as we progress to higher grade weapons from the overland testing stations if we no longer want to use, for example, our grade 2 or grade 3 equipment and we want to use grade 4. If your playstyle focuses on supporting both you and your friends or your guildmates, putting a lot of experience into the crafting specialization tree is efficient. Getting this to level 100 will dramatically increase your efficiency and power scaling for all of your equipment, as well as things you farm and craft. Let's shift our attention over to the gathering tree. In my opinion, this tree is the most underwhelming of the 5 specialization trees to focus on early for your progression. Gathering offers us the passive bonuses to harvesting, anything from aluminum, titanium, fuel cells, the list goes on. The one thing it doesn't offer is a bonus to sandcrawler harvesting yield, which is a bit disappointing, but instead it favors using the static compactor by offering a few bonuses to the sand compacted, and also the surface area is affected as far as the radius of it. There's an interesting trait you can level up on the tree that offers jackpot yields and an assortment of bonus materials when you're hand farming metals versus using the buggy, but in all honesty, it's quite underwhelming. I wouldn't recommend putting more than 15 to 20 levels in this tree if you're just starting out, unless you plan on being the head farmer for your group. If you're running solo, stick to leveling this to only level 15 so you can get the 100% bonus to picking up materials such as plant fiber. This is super helpful since we're going to need a lot of plant fiber in the end game in large amounts for our wind traps and other things to maintain our base. Moving on to exploration. Exploration offers some rather juicy perks early on in its tree, as well as all the way up to level 100. It's offering essentially double inventory space at 100, double inventory slots, reduced sandworm threat, loot bonuses that crash ships and containers at various levels. We're also getting reduced dispenser belt drain up to 30%. It's also giving us a ton of heat reduction for our vehicles and a speed boost at level 20 to all vehicles by 15%, which is huge. On top of that, if you're getting stuck in sandstorms or engaging in PvP, we're getting bonuses to damage reduction in storms and a 20% damage reduction in damage taken to our vehicle on itself. So anything from an ancient way or missile that might hit us, we're going to get that reduction. If you're just starting out and running solo, or even in a group, I don't see a need to really go beyond level 40 or level 50 for exploration before finishing up some of the other trees, especially if your goal is to complete high level overland testing stations. The early key milestones that you should be aware of are at level 10, we're unlocking Treasure Hunter, giving us more loot per crash ship. At level 20, we're getting vehicle speed bonus. At level 25 and 30, we're getting extra inventory slots. And at level 40, we're getting hidden caches. which is going to double most items to be containers in the game, such as tier 6 components. There's a few exceptions to this, and this was brought to my attention between this video and the other one that I recorded, but both irradiated slag and the industrial pumps are not affected by this as far as the pickup goes. This might change in the future. I'm not entirely sure. I honestly thought that the pumps was getting a higher bonus from this perk, but it stands to be right now, at least in the PDC. But at any rate, let's move on to combat. This is probably everybody's favorite tree since it provides the most direct benefits to a lot of the content in the game, especially pushing higher overland testing stations. At level 100, this is giving us a whopping 100% damage increase, 50% damage mitigation, 54 skill points, 55 max health, and 55 max stamina. If you're a solo and want to push overland testing stations, this tree is where you're going to see the most value for that content across the board. But before I go into the exact progression path that includes combat, let's dive into a brief overview of the Sabotage tree first. The Sabotage tree is going to offer us a really nice 50% damage bonus to staggered enemies at level 100. It has a 30% headshot bonus, as well as some land shroud and combat detection bonuses. The one notable perk I'd get early on this tree is the level 40 talent called What's Theirs is Mine. I covered in a previous video how useful it is to have this since it will make a lot of the enemies in the overland testing stations drop tier 6 components, which really adds up. All right, so now that we're a bit more familiar with all the specialization trees, let's see some endgame benchmarks I think provide the most value if you're an unassisted solo player or don't have a group crafter. For this first specialization route, this revolves around a more combat-focused playstyle with the goal to push higher level testing stations by yourself. Off the bat, the aim is to achieve, at a minimum, 20 or 40 exploration, so we can unlock the vehicle speed bonus and container loot bonuses at level 40. This speed bonus is going to shave off a ton of time traveling around in the deep desert or around Haga for land trad missions and gathering resources. Another early end game goal, I should say, would be to hit either 31 or 52 crafting for the extra augment slots for your weapons and armor. Next, I would hit 15 gathering, and I would leave that basically until all the other trees are maxed out. I would just leave that be, unless your main focus is going to be on farming resources. For combat, make it a goal to ultimately level to level 100. But because of how the XP curve works, I would allocate 2 out of your daily 5 missions into Sabotage to start putting points into that stagger bonus damage as well as you progress. It makes a huge difference if you're running a shotgun or melee build, since that focuses more on stagger bonuses. But that's it for the combat focused route if you're going to be trying to push the endgame dungeons. If you're someone who's more into the support playstyle for your friends, maxing out your crafting and gathering trees with a sprinkle of exploration is going to be your best bet. Having more inventory volume and sandworm threat reduction makes a big difference for harvesting flower sand or reducing the number of times the sandworm pops up if you're in a crawler. I wouldn't put as many points into combat and sabotage if you're looking to go the support route, but it wouldn't hurt to put at least 20 in combat and sabotage to help with land shroud missions if you're just starting out. The same can be said for exploration. I would get to at least level 20 so you have the speed boost so you can ferry around. Cargo containers a lot easier in your carrier. You can fly around in your assault boppers and move faster in your sandcrawler. That's all for today's video, sleepers. I'm curious to know what's been your progression path so far for the end game. Did I miss anything in this video that you have found helpful? Please drop a comment below and like and subscribe if you want to see more Dune Awakening content like this. Hope to see you in the next one. Take care, all.